What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am Scribbles, the artist and crocheter behind Eclectic Scribbles, and this is episode 3 of Small Business Realities, where we take a deep dive, no fluff, nitty-gritty look at all things related to your small business and getting into the things that people really want to know, but nobody ever really says. So, welcome to a new episode. In this episode, we are going to touch on products and pricing. These Pricing is a hot button issue for me, and I will definitely die on some of these hills if you try to argue with me on some of the points that I'm going to make in this video. We're going to do this video a little bit differently, and I am going to have my face shrunk down in the bottom because I'm going to be reading my script that I just got done typing up. No AI, no nothing, all me. And if I happen to go off script, you'll probably know it. But in the meantime, I thought you could start working on something in the background. Most people do. You just have me up in the background. For anybody who is not just having me up in the background and is actually watching the video itself, then I got some pretty artwork that I've done recently, and I am bringing you along for the creation of some of it. So it's a little bit sped up based on how long this video is, but it is artwork nonetheless. So it's sort of my process of how I do things and how I work. All right. So let's actually get into the video, but first things first, hit the subscribe button down there if you haven't already. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so it is pushed out to more people, and make sure you give me your thoughts and your comments down below. Any kind of comment always helps us get pushed out to more people as well. And let's get started. All right, so like I said, I'm going to be looking off screen. I'm trying not to. Let's move you over the tiniest little bit so it's not as obvious that that's what I'm doing. And we're going to get started. So the things that I want to touch on in this video, I will be approaching this as an artist and a maker as well. I will have information on all types of items, not just ones that are specific to me or one type of item. And the first things first, when you're starting any business, is figuring out what you want to make, okay? The types of products that you're going to offer in your shop. And I want to preach very highly to have a variety of items in your shop. Make sure there is something for everyone. Find the thing that makes your shop different from others. Find that new item that you don't see a lot on other tables or in other booths, and find a way to embellish your items that you may see elsewhere in a different way that sets your items apart. Being different from the rest is really important. You want to catch other people's eyes with your things. A few ways to do this is by finding a unique style and creating your art that is just yours. Create your own items and patterns, or find a different and unique way to showcase your art. Okay, so here's a couple of examples. I used to embellish my plushies with little jewels, like that would go on their bums. So, or their bellies if it was something that was standing upright. I currently produce my own patterns, so that is a way that I set myself apart. I also sell my patterns, so the chances of someone else selling the same item as me is still there, but it is a lot less prominent than if I just use exclusively other people's products. So, there may be the chance that they're adding one or two of my patterns to their items in their whole table. Whereas all of the items on my table, or at least like 95% of my plushies, are my patterns alone. So I've got sort of my entire catalog, and they just have a sample in their patterns or in their creations. You know what I'm saying? All right. The other way that I have done this is I have created a new product that I haven't seen anywhere else or any other artists do. I know I've seen it somewhere. It is not an original idea by any means, but it is original in the fact that it is something that I have not seen in Artist Alley, or at least in the Artist Alleys that I have been a part of. This is something that I brought just this past convention that was new to me, and it really caught the attention of other people, and it caught the attention of buyers because nobody else was doing this specific thing, and that was the credit card covers, card cover skins, whatever you want to call them. It's a sticker that goes over your debit or credit card and makes it pretty instead of your basic bank logo or whatever. And I will be expanding this line really, really soon, but that's something that set me apart. So those are the items that you want to have at your table, something that catches the eye, something that's a little bit different. So this is just a different way to express my art. This is easier if you're making things like sewing or polymer clay or other completely handmade goods that are not manufactured in any type of way, because those items will always have your own expression in them. I do really enjoy finding a pattern though that doesn't happen to be the new print trend or something that no one else is really talking about, but that I really enjoy making, and I think that other people will enjoy having. So this is why my pattern roundup videos, generally speaking, do not have any trending recommendations. Like, you're not going to see a loaf cat in my pattern roundup, because loaf cats are a big thing right now. They're a big trend. Everybody's making them right now, but I'm not trying to bring you that because everybody's already seen a loaf cat. I'm trying to bring you things that will set you apart and give you different suggestions than what everybody else is going with, okay? So another fact of business is some things are going to freaking flop. Just because an item or type of item sells well for one person does not mean it is automatically going to sell for you. Something that moves well for other people is apparel, and that just doesn't move for me at events, or not at conventions anyway. It does at smaller events, but now I really only offer those items online. And I even tried to dip my toe back into the apparel scene when I did my last convention, and once again, that shit did not move. It just didn't move. And that's okay, because you're not meant to sell absolutely everything. So that's what I mean by just finding what works for you and then trying to set yourself apart. Next up is pricing. And like I said in this video, we're going to take a deep dive into products and pricing. And pricing is a huge issue for me. A huge issue, a huge hot button item. Yeah, I am big about pricing. So let's get into it, okay? Pricing is a huge component when it comes to products. With art, stickers, sticker sheets, and the things of that nature, you can look at other artists and get an industry standard for those type of items. For handmade items, you can get a general idea of what the market is, one, willing to charge, and two, willing to pay for that type of item. Although handmade creators are really often underselling themselves. So let's get into some of the details on pricing. Let's first look at something simple like stickers. I have seen a lot of artists with a ton of stickers, and the industry standard on a 3-inch vinyl sticker is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 to $5. I opted for right in the middle at $4, and I offer deals in person like 3 for $10 and 5 for $15. At no point is my price dropping below the standard. This is important because as a business, you not only need to cover your costs, but you need to cover the time it takes to produce and or order those items, along with having a profit margin so that you can take care of your overhead and invest in your business. This is where I see a lot of makers falter. When you are creating handmade goods, there are several other things that you need to take into account. These are the hills I will die on when it comes to pricing. You must, absolute freaking must, include all of your costs it takes to make your item, the total time and your hourly wage, overhead costs associated with your business and tools, which I call operational costs, and a profit margin or markup, whatever you want to call it. That last one, that shit's important. Keep that in mind. If you if you are not figuring in a profit margin, your business is not actually growing or making money. You cannot scale a business without profit. I have a couple of YouTube videos on pricing in general with great information in them, which I will link down in this description, but we are going to get down into the nitty-gritty and get going into the detail so that you can see how extremely important this point is. Let's go into a few examples on pricing, because you need to know your cost and how to set yourself up for the most success. We're going to start with something simple as an example. like stickers. This is a very common item to see. Now let's look into some production costs. And I'm going to give you very, very, very specific examples of what it takes to create items so that you know exactly how important this stuff really, really is. If I make stickers in the studio, let's figure up some rough numbers for this example. So for paper, say I spend $30 on a 100 pack of vinyl sticker paper sheets and another 20 on 20 sheets of laminate. That's about the cost that I spend right now on those things. That's $1.30 for a finished page with laminate on it. I can fit 8 to 12 stickers on a page depending on design, so let's just go with 10 and just split the difference. We are at a cost of 13 cents per sticker. But that's not where the costs end. You are using a printer, ink, possibly a cold laminator if you like to do things that way. I don't use one, but some people do. And a sticker cutter for this as well. These costs need to be figured in. Machines wear over time and ink runs out. For something small like this, let's just round up all our operational costs for this sticker to 7 cents more so that you are at 20 cents costs per sticker. You also spent time not only in creating the sticker design, but in creating the sticker itself. This is time in your day specifically spent on this item and nothing else. Well, that needs to be figured in as well. Let's say, all in all, it takes you 15 minutes to format the cut, print the sheet, laminate the sheet, load your cart or load your cutter, have it cut, unload the cutter, peel off the stickers, and put them where they need to be. You pay yourself $20 an hour, so about $5 for 15 minutes, divided by the 10 items on your page, and that is 50 cents in production wages. It took you 2 hours to create the design, which is roughly what I spend on a sticker design, which is $40 in wages as well. But this cost generally is offset by the fact that once it's created, it only needs to be produced. So we're going to just keep it even and say, now our costs are at 70 cents per sticker. You can see how these costs add up for each item. Now, I sell stickers for $4 each, which gives me a gross profit of $3.30 per sticker. This is a margin great when you are starting out for several reasons. You can test how a specific item or design does for you. You can print only a few, or you can choose to print on demand when an order is made online and use like a digital image online to sell your product, and just print a few in person. You're controlling how much you spend on the item. You make as many as you like. So you've got a lot of control and you can do this instantly. But what if I want to outsource my sticker production? What do those margins look like? I've sourced my own manufacturer through Alibaba. I can't stress how much of a difference this makes, and you're going to see why in just a minute. It is a little more work up front for me, yes, to find a manufacturer. But is it worth that effort? Also, yes, and I am going to explain why to you in these examples. My quotes based on ordering 50 pieces of any design is 20 cents per sticker. 50 pieces is generally the lowest manufacturers want to go for each design. So let's add on a generous 5 cents to cover shipping and operational costs and wages. So we're at 25 cents per sticker, which leaves $3.75 in gross profit per sticker, which is already better than the ones that you're creating at home. And I saved myself an hour by printing and cutting out 50 stickers, which is completely worth it for me. There are a couple of cons, of course, when it comes to this method. It does take longer than a US-based company or printing on demand in your studio. You need to plan for that. But the quality of the sticker is better than I can produce in the studio with my current machines. It has weatherproofing, it has UV protection, and all of the other things, which is something that I just cannot replicate at home in my studio. So I am willing to offer a better product for my customers and just plan about 3 weeks to have a total production and shipping time ahead of getting the actual item in hand. Although sometimes if you work with a manufacturer enough, you can get a better turnaround time if you need it. So just keep that in mind as well. So what about popular US and UK companies? Let's get into that as well. I will say with no remorse whatsoever, I will never endorse in any way or support Sticker Mill. There are numerous reasons why, and I find that I can get better quality in other places on top of avoiding the controversies of that company. Not to mention that their prices are absolutely ridiculous unless they are having a sale, and those sales generally come up for stickers about once a month. So it's just not even worth it. It's not even worth it to me. But let's look at two companies that I would endorse. For the US, Sticker App is a great company with great quality products. The trade off at these places, though, is that you are going to pay for the convenience of not having to source your own manufacturer and get a slightly faster delivery time frame if you're in the US. So for 50 pieces of one design, they're going to charge you $53, bringing your cost of each sticker to $1.06. They do offer better deals as you go up in quantity per design, but to bring your cost down significantly, you are going to have to order quite a lot of each design, and that adds up. Not to mention that if people aren't really receptive to that one design, you could be stuck with quite a lot of inventory that's just not moving. So I have looked into, I want to say that I have not looked into their shipping, but that also adds to the final cost of these companies that I'm recommended. So just take that into account as well, that I just haven't figured shipping costs into either of these. For the UK, which also is a great company to work with in the US as well, it is Zap Creatives. They are based in the UK, and I ordered their 8x8 centimeter, which is roughly a 3-inch sticker. Um, for those of us here in the US. And once you convert to US dollars, which you can do on their website, you can select what country you are in and it will convert all of the prices over for you. It's $32.70 for 50 pieces of one design, which is 64 cents per sticker. And they have pretty good turnaround times as well. You can get your stuff relatively quickly and you are going to pay for it to be relatively quick, even coming from the UK. So you see your profit is going to differ depending on how you create your product. So set yourself up to have the best profit margin you can. This goes the same for all art related products and manufactured goods, including charms, enamel pens, notebooks, journals, and anything else featuring your art. I will say for low minimum order quantities on a lot of art related products, I do recommend Vogue Race. A lot of artists use them while you sort out your own manufacturer if you choose to go that route. I have never had any issue with Vogue Race products outside of the fact that sometimes I would find that their stickers had a tendency to slide off the backing a little. I have purchased charms, journals, sticker books, and a other wide assortment of things from Vogue Race, and I have literally never, ever, ever had a problem with the quality of the designs. And even if an issue did pop up, they have always been quick to address that issue. I would just say they're not my top pick for stickers, although you can again get the lower order quantity at Vogue Race than you can from these other companies at a better price, should you choose to go that route. Okay. All right. But let's look into some homemade items because I know a lot of my audience is handmade items. I know that a lot of people that follow me are crocheters specifically. So we're going to use crochet as an example, but this really applies to any item that is a handmade good. So before I give you an analysis on costs and how they're broken down for each handmade item, I'm going to give you some advice on pricing in general. And this advice works for artists in pretty much all cases as well. So, even if you're just an artist, just pay attention to this advice. And I think that it's extremely sound advice. I think it's really good advice, and I think that a lot of people need to hear it. And I think it's a hard thing for most people to come to terms with when they are pricing their own work, but it is something that you need to hear, and it is something that you need to implement in your business if you want to be a success and you want to grow and scale your business over time. So just take what I say with a grain of salt. It is strictly my opinion, and this is just advice coming from those opinions, but a lot of people do need to hear it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have found value in being told this advice and have found value in hearing it. So here we go. Number one, you are worth being paid for the time, energy, love, and skill that you put into each of your items without exception. Without exception. You are worth it. Know that you are worth it. Do not doubt that you are worth it, okay? Number two, just because you're new to this does not mean you need to be cheaper. Starting your journey now does not diminish the effort that you have put into your creations and does not mean that you can't charge what you are worth for your items. It does not mean that you have to get out there and hustle and work harder for lower priced items just to get ahead. That's not the way to do this, okay? So it doesn't mean that you need to have cheaper items because you're just starting. Value yourself, okay? Among anything else that I tell you today, value yourself. Number three, I have said this repeatedly and I will continue to say it because it is very much true. $10 an hour is not a livable wage. It is not. In this country, it is not a livable wage. If you are living at home with your parents or family, if you are just doing this as a hobby, if you are living debt free with nothing but your monthly utilities to pay for, it does not change that simple fact. What it does do is undervalue your time and effort, along with undermining the time and effort of all of your fellow creators who are relying on their creations as the only income to pay their bills. And it is not worth undervaluing yourself and your fellow creatives just because you have less bills to pay. And you cannot live in this country on $10 an hour. Not with the way that rent prices are, not with the way interest rates are, not with any of it. Not with any of it, okay? Stop it. Stop it right now. 4, a shopper's budget should not dictate your pricing. Let me say that again. A shopper's budget should not dictate your pricing. I will elaborate quickly on this point, or maybe not so quickly. Who knows? It is me you're listening to, so anybody's guess. You are providing a want, not a need. People do not need your items to survive. What you create is a luxury item, be it art or any kind of make. It is a luxury item. It does not matter if you are in a big city or a small town. That fact remains. This is something purchased with a shopper's disposable income, and every single shopper is different. They are coming out to events planning to spend their disposable incomes, okay? They are there to support small businesses, artists, and crafters. As such, they will pay you what you are worth if you have the item that they really want. And you cannot determine someone's budget based on the area you are in or any other means. I often see sellers at conventions that change their prices depending upon where they are, and there is one that comes into mind every time that I say this that runs in the same circuit that I do. So I see this all the time, and I just find it horrible. Don't do that to your customer. Don't have your products priced one way online, another way at convention in North Carolina, and a third at a convention in Ohio. Someone attending an event in a bigger city doesn't deserve to be charged more for that item just because they happen to be purchasing it in a larger area. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And just because someone is in a small town doesn't mean they have a small budget. So, like I said, you cannot look at somebody and tell what their budget is and what they're willing to pay for something they find value in and they enjoy. So just keep that in mind, please, okay? Just keep that in mind. You heard, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a budget by the shopper. I don't know what to tell you. Number 5, and this is sort of my last little tip before we get into the breakdown of pricing handmade items. Perceived value is a real thing. It is a real thing, okay? Look it up. If you are constantly undervaluing your work and your items, you are telling your customer that you have no confidence in what you have created. You are creating a sense of cheapness, whereas if you are pricing your items appropriately, you are saying to that customer that you have created a quality item in which you put your best time and effort. Okay? Perceived value is a real thing, and that can work for you or it can work against you. So know that that is something that is going on in people's subconscious every time you price one of your items. It just is. It's happening. It's in their brains and they can't get rid of it, and neither can you. All right, so now let's go over a breakdown on pricing. This is going to get very, very specific, but I need to make it specific for you to understand where we're coming from, okay? We're going to use a popular pattern that so many creators do for this example, and it's been a great product. It's been a great product for me. The Mabel chicken. I charge $20 for Mabel chickens, and here is the breakdown. Mabel chicken takes 30 grams of burlap blanket yarn, which is $1.30, and 30 grams of polyfill at 45 cents. I use 12 millimeter eyes, which figure at 20 cents a set. That is $1.95 in materials. Okay, so that's where we're starting out. $1.95 in materials. Mabel takes me 30 minutes to make. My hourly wage is $20 an hour. So that is $10 in wages. We're at $11.95 now just to make a Mabel. I add this is where you really need to pay attention right here. Right here. This is a really big thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration. I add $3 to $4 in operational costs for each plush as a general rule. Now, this might not apply to some of the itsy bitsy little items, but in general, this applies, okay? This applies. Let me explain quickly what that sort of operational cost covers. Okay, it covers overhead costs for your business, wear and tear on your hooks and stitch markers that 100% do wear out and will need replacing, packaging and labeling, show fees, website fees, etc., and the time it will take to tag, set up, vend, break down at events, post on social media, film content for my audience, add to my online site, my off-season fees, because my business is still out there costing me money even when I don't have shows, processing fees for card payments, and taxes, because you have to pay taxes on every single dollar you make. I umbrella all of those costs into that charge. $3 to $4 per plush. And I said that, it doesn't really go into consideration with the little things, but it does. It does. It's in there as well. So I just lied to you. But anyways, so with $1.95 in materials, $10 in wages, and $4 in operational costs, we are at a base price of $15.95. This is the cost to create one Mabel. Now, can you see how a $15 price tag on this item does not work? At $15, you are shorting your business 95 cents with every chicken you make. And that is just the cost to go out and make another Mabel when this one's gone. Where is the money to invest in more yarn to offer different colors of Mabels? Where is the money to upgrade your setup for markets? Where is the money to improve your packaging or upgrade your equipment? It's not there at $15. Simple as that. It's not there. It is really not there. If you are trying to be a full-time business owner, you cannot afford to short the cost to operate your business. You cannot afford to take that money that should be your wages to pay all of your personal bills for oh so many reasons, okay? Markets and events have seasons. You can go a month or more without a market, and how will you pay for your personal life if you have cut yourself short in wages? Not every event is a success. The reality is some flop, and there are some that are a complete bomb where you go into the red and don't even cover your cost to be there. So why would you cut yourself short in wages? Material costs can't be cut. They are what they are. And if you want to make a chicken, you have to pay that cost. If you want to replace that chicken you just sold, you have to spend that cost in materials for the next one. This is why having a profit margin is essential. Let's go over that word again. Essential. Essential to your business. My general markup is 20 to 30% for wholesale items in bulk, which should be there because even if someone is ordering 20 chickens all at once with wholesale pricing, it still has to be worth the time and effort that you're taking away from your business. My markup is around 50 to 70% for retail. This is not a hard and fast rule. Sometimes items have a huge markup, and sometimes items will have a more moderate workup or markup depending on the item itself, but this is my general guideline. So let's look at those retail margins, and we will get into wholesale in another episode because that's a whole big old thing, especially with handmade goods all on its own. Okay, so at $15.95 for Mabel with a 70% markup as a base price of suggested retail at $27.11 with a profit margin of $11.16 total. Okay, and based on the size of each Mabel and how it comes out to be, I think personally that $27 is a little high in terms of cost for the buyer. So let's look at a 50% markup. That is $23.92. That's a little closer to what I think someone should pay for something this size. Now, I could definitely split the difference here and say that Mabel chickens are a $25 item, leaving me a profit of $9.05, excuse the dogs, in play mode in the background, per item, $9.05. That would be a completely fair price for both the buyer and my business. Like I said before, sometimes some items will have an amazing markup and then some will be lower. So I look at all of the items that I offer as a whole and I decide what I think is fair in comparison to similarly sized items and items with similar effort in my overall product catalog, right? And I decide that I would like to go with $20 as the price for this item, okay? That takes my profit down from $9.05 to $4.05 per chicken sold, okay? I also look at it as I will probably sell more chickens overall at this price point, whereas I think the $25 price tag may be a little bit of a harder sell based on the finished item for some people. So the price that you end up on is completely up to you, but it has to be it has to be more than no profit at all, okay? So, yeah, that's a big cut from $9 down to $4, but $4, bigger number than zero. It's a bigger number than zero. It really is. I'm telling you right now, 4 bigger than 0. I know you don't believe it, but it is. It is. All right. So I think this is a great example for handmade items because I've seen people sell these for $12 and $15 at markets, and I just explained to you why that's not a profitable number at all. And I really want you to be aware of how costs figure into your business and how you can be affected personally by bad business decisions, which brings me to my next point on products. Okay. Once you know your profit margins, you can make sure that you're getting the best margins for your business with each item, okay? With a $20 price tag on Mabel's, they provide me with just under a 30% markup, okay? That is something that I should be making as far as wholesale is concerned and not retail. So how do I fix this besides upping my price to that $25 price point? Let's find an alternative that provides me with a similar product but a better margin, okay? I know I can cut costs by making a slightly smaller item, getting a better deal and using felt eyes or a different style of eyes with a better price point. let's look at my mini chicken in comparison to maple. Okay, my mini chicken uses 20 grams of Bernat and only 15 grams of polyfill, and I use felt eyes on my mini chickens. Okay, that is 87 cents in yarn, 22 cents in polyfill, and 10 cents for eyes. $1.19 is my material cost for a mini chicken. It takes me 15 minutes to make a mini chicken, which is only $5 for my wages, and our operational cost remains the same at $4, bringing us to $10.19. A 70% markup leaves us at $17.32 as a suggested retail price. Based on the size of these items against everything else that I make, I think that an $18 price point for a mini chicken looks pretty good. I decide that this similar product that is lower in cost but better margins for me and my business is a better fit for my business, and I test it out on the market. Spoiler alert, they too move really well, just like my larger chickens, and people like the $18 price point over a $20, $22, or $25 price point. So while I may have a few larger chickens at my events for people who are like super obsessed with chickens, I focus on the smaller ones to fill that spot because they work better for me, and they work just as well for people who say, "Oh my God, that's a cute chicken," and pick up that chicken to purchase it. So there are a couple of really detailed looks into products, costs, and pricing for your business. You can apply these examples to anything in your business. Before I wrap up this episode, I want to discuss the variety in your available products as well. This is just my experience with products, so take what I say here with a grain of salt, but I have been doing events for a while, and I have gotten a pretty good look at what moves and when it moves. I think a good rule of thumb is to have about 75% of your products be under the $20 price point. It is really easy for a customer to be compelled to purchase something under $20 or whip out a $20 bill. For artists, we offer smaller items and we offer deals on multiples of those items. My plushie bins are another example where my plushies in my bins, which is the bulk of what I bring to events, is under $20 price points as well. You want to try to include something for all budgets. Like stated before, every person who steps into your booth has a different amount of money in their pocket. That being said, I would say that 20% of your product should be in the $20 to $50 value range as your mid-range price point for those looking for bigger ticket items. The remaining 5% should be your big ticket items and your showstoppers. I find that my showstoppers have a tendency to move at larger events, and they may not be the first things off your shelves, but they do draw in people to my booth that might have just walked past otherwise, okay? Even when they don't sell. Those people are more likely to pick up a smaller item if you have a selection that appeals to them than they would have been without you catching their eye and pulling them into your booth with that showstopper. Do not be afraid to attach a $200 or $300 price tag onto an item that took you 7 hours to make. Okay? Don't be afraid. It's going to go to the place that it's meant to go to. Those items will find their forever homes with the right buyers. I have sold $200 and $300 plushies, so I can speak to this. You don't have to sell yourself short to move that item, nor should you. If you have to hang on to that item that took you 10 hours, then hang on to it until the right buyer sees it and is willing to pay you for your hard work. Okay? I really I can't express that enough. I cannot say that enough. You are worth more than you think. You are worth your time and effort. Okay? I'm going to repeat it until the day that I die, apparently. But you are worth your time and effort that you have put into this handmade item. For my handmade creators, keep in mind that these types of items take time to make. Some take hours per piece, and that is perfectly fine. I suggest finding something that you enjoy making that is easy to replicate or supplement your items for your busy seasons, okay? It can be really difficult to keep up with stock and becoming a full-time maker when you have back-to-back events. For instance, March is my busiest month of my entire year. I currently, for 2025, have 4 of the 5 weekends in March fully booked with an application in to fill the one weekend that I don't currently have booked. So, am I insane? Yes. But how can I possibly keep up with that amount of events with my handmade side of my business? With just my handmade side of my business. I can't do it. I can't even do it. Okay. And let me add in that these are not small events either. These are some of my biggest events for the entire year. My income in March alone will help cover my off weeks and months for the rest of the year with any luck, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Just fingers crossed that that is the case. So besides beginning to prep now, months and months in advance, what can I do? Personally, I also happen to be an artist, right? So my art covers about half of my booth, and art prints, stickers, sticker sheets are all things that can be replenished quickly with minimal effort, which is why I have switched over to outsourcing that type of thing for myself. Find that thing for you. I am going to use Vivian the Strawberry or Hippie Poppy, depending upon where you view her stuff. She's on YouTube, and of course, she's on Instagram as well. As an example, she crochets, she creates her own patterns. She does mostly crochet, but she supplements her booth with other things like cups, apparel, candles, etc. Find that thing that you enjoy making for your busy times. So during busy times, she has things that will carry her booth as she tries to produce more plushies and more handmade items. Find something like that that you enjoy so you aren't working your fingers to the bone trying to keep up, because you do need to balance your work life and your life, okay? You do not need to be working yourself until midnight every night, 7 days a week, trying to keep up with making more plushies so that you can fill booths in your busy season, okay? It's just not healthy. I struggle with it. I'm not gonna lie, I still struggle with it and working more than I probably should, but you need to find a work-life balance. You really do. So find the thing that helps you do that, okay? Just a suggestion, of course, but I do want you to keep one other thing in mind about running a business. The majority of the time, or at least a good half of it, you aren't actually creating. You're not actually creating at all unless you're solely selling in person. Admin takes up more time than you think. Production takes time. Pricing and packaging takes time. And there are so many other things that will pull your focus away from actually creating that handmade item, include creating content for social media, trying to bring in a social media following, doing all the back end work, fulfilling orders, packing and shipping. All of these things are going to pull at your work time, in addition to trying to find time to create the things that you want to sell. So keep that in mind, okay? And just do me a favor. If you are not artistically inclined, but you want to create items with art on them at your table, I fully support you doing this. I fully support that you create, beautiful things that have whatever art you find appealing on them. Just use an actual artist that puts time and effort into their designs out for purchase. Please do not use AI generated designs, okay? Just don't do it. Don't do it. They look fake to begin with. And while AI is coming along by leaps and bounds very, very quickly, it is doing so by training itself without permission off of the backs of actual artists and scanning their works all over the World Wide Web to use as reference when someone asks for a specific type of image. AI is trying to kill the everyday artist. Support another hardworking small business and creator just as you would like to be supported, and avoid anything that is generated with AI as far as art is concerned. If you want to use AI to help you structure your listings online better, or help you form more concise sentences so that you don't run on for hours like I do, because this is 46 minutes into this episode and I am still talking. do you, boo boo. Have them generate that text for you and have them sum up things in a much better way than you can probably ever do yourself. That's fine. But don't use it for art. Do not use it for art because it is literally scanning every corner of the web to create things based on things that it steals from artists. So just don't do it. Okay? I think that's like the bulk of what I wanted to talk to you guys today about as far as products and pricing. And if you have any further questions or would like for me to elaborate any more on this subject, let me know down in the comments below. Absolutely. If you are on my Patreon, you are seeing this well ahead of anybody on YouTube. It is probably going to go out to Patreon before the month of November ends. I just have to edit it now that I have created it, but it probably won't go out to YouTube until you're probably not seeing this until sometime mid-December. So they get a lot more episodes a lot more quickly, and you can be on the $7 tier of my Patreon and get access to all of this small business help. I'm also going to be putting up a pricing calculator that I have sort of reformatted and done for myself based on all of the things that I am telling you to make sure that every single one of the costs that you need to figure into pricing your items is included in your pricing, and it is there for you to not only track your pricing and your items and what they cost you, but also will help you prep for markets with inventory planners as well. So look for that to be coming out. Again, it'll probably be released on my Patreon first, and then it will probably go to my website for everyone to purchase. So just keep these things in mind, that my patrons, because they support me and what I do, and because they help to support me each and every month, allowing me to make content like this and take time out of my day and out of my creation for my own business, that they get these special little perks of getting things super early. But I think that this was really a good episode in how we're not just giving you the fluff. We're not just saying, hey, you need to go add this into your pricing, and then la di da, everything is golden. And that 10-minute video gave you literally zero substance, if that makes sense. I wanted to make sure that in a product and pricing video that you got every bit of information that you could possibly need on what kind of products to sort of go with for yourself and your business, what range of priced products that you should have in your business, and how you should be pricing those business, and making sure that you know each and every single cost that goes into running your business, so that you are not cutting yourself short, because so many people out here are. And I hope that I have persuaded you to not only value yourself, like I said, if you're only doing this for a hobby, but valuing your fellow creators and your fellow artists by not undercutting them, by undervaluing yourself because you don't need the money. You know what I'm saying? We are in a very rough time right now, and I don't see that clearing up anytime soon. To tell you the honest truth, don't undersell yourself and then undercut everyone around you just because you don't need it right now, because there may be a time when that changes and you do need it, and you would expect that same support and that same respect from the people around you as well. I hope that makes sense. So, anyways, that is going to wrap it up for this episode. I am going to finally stop talking 51 minutes in, which will probably be edited down to 48 minutes because I blabber, and we all know that. But I hope you enjoyed the content. Tell me what you were working on, and if you got anything of value out of this entire conversation, down in the comments below. And like I said, if there's anything more that you would like for me to elaborate on, or if there is a specific topic that you would like to have covered in one of the future episodes of Small Business Realities. I can't even talk anymore. I've talked so much. Let me know down in the comments. I will see you in the next video. But until then, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And so love yourself and value yourself. And I will see you in the next video. All right. I love you. Goodbye.